channel. Today I am super excited about this palette review because this is the new limited edition palette from Charlotte Tilbury. You guys know I love Charlotte Tilbury and I have lots of palettes from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm slowly growing my collection. I have 4 of the quads, which I love all of them. And then I also have the Stars in the Eyes palette, which I love that one as well. This one retailed for $75. This for 12 shades. This one retails for $65 for 12 shades. So it is limited edition, and it seems like her limited edition palettes are like available for maybe like a month or two, and then once they're out of stock, they're gone and you can't find them. However, I did see the Stars in Your Eyes palette at Nordstrom's, I would say like a month ago, and I was really surprised that they still had it. It was in downtown Salt Lake City, and I was really surprised they had it. So I should have bought it. I really should have bought it for a backup, but okay. Anyway, So this is what this beautiful palette looks like, and this is called the Icon palette, and it's the Eyes to Hypnotize. So it's very, very beautiful, and the shades are just everything that Charlotte Tilbury is. Just very elegant, very beautiful. Then you have these beautiful pops of color over here, which I'm very curious with. I didn't play with them today, and I definitely will in an upcoming video. I'm thinking about using this palette to be like a get ready with me or something, and kind of playing around with some of the shades that I didn't get to use today. Let's get into the description about it, and then we'll head straight into the 2 tutorials. It is a limited edition 12 shade palette with 4 intensely pigmented electric eye looks to take you from day to date, to diva to disco. Ooh, I cannot believe I did that in the first try. That never happens. I always get tongue twisted, and that never happens. Inspired by the spotlights, rock stars, and dancers that Charlotte partied with in Ibiza, these multicolored, multi-use eyeshadows glide across your eyes, your lips, and cheeks like silk satin molten light. The rich textures can be used wet as well as dried. Pop them on with a wet brush for a divine, super smooth silk finish with a beautiful color. The lipstick that I'm wearing is the Matte Revolution in the shade Walk of Shame. So I have that on my lip, and then I went in with my finger and grabbed this shade right here, and I just kind of popped it right there. When I feel like I can't find that right lippy to match my eye look, I will put down a base, and then I'll go in and grab whatever's on my lid and pop it on my lip. I love doing that. But I'm curious how this would be as a highlighter. I really don't have a highlighter on my cheekbone. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to take a fan brush, and I'm going to dip into this light shade, which is the first shade in the palette. Let's just see what this will look like. Oh, that's pretty, you guys. Oh my gosh, I think I just fell even more in love. What? Oh, I love that. That is so beautiful, you guys. So pretty. All right, let's do a little bit here on the nose. And it's not chunky, like not even a little bit. It is so beautiful. Like I am, damn, that's pretty. I also compare some shades from the Stars in the Eyes palette to the Icon palette because it looks like there are some similar shades in here. So I definitely wanted to swatch it for those of you out there that maybe have the Stars in Your Eyes palette, and you know, some of these shades are maybe looking a little bit similar to some of the shades that you have in here. So I definitely swatched them for you so you can see those shades side by side to determine if they are the same. I'm super excited to review it for you guys today. And without further ado, let's jump into the 2 tutorials of the 2 looks that I created here. And then later on, I swatch the palette for you, and then I give you guys my full final thoughts later on in the video. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so I'm looking a little bit weird, but I did not put concealer on only because I do know Charlotte Tilbury's formula very well in her palettes, and I do experience some fallout. So Just know that when you're buying any Charlotte Tilbury palette, they're worth it. They're beautiful. I love all of my Charlotte Tilbury palettes. I will go ahead and do my concealer once I get both eyes done. I am super excited to play with this palette. It just arrived. Today is Saturday. This video is going to go up tomorrow morning. And the thing is, this didn't come until like 5:30. And then by the time I got done with like all of my household duties, I was not able to come down here and start filming until right around, what is it, like, it's 7:14. So the teenagers are gone out having fun with their friends. Tomorrow's my daughter's 16th birthday, so she's having fun with her friends. I cannot believe my baby's turning 16 tomorrow. It's like blowing my mind. Her birthday's really cool. It's 030303, which I think is awesome. Plus the number 3 was my favorite number growing up, so it's kind of cool. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about this palette. So typically when I do 2 different looks, I will do 1 look on both eyes and kind of complete it, and then I will go and wash it off and come back and start another look. Because I'm starting so late, because it's like 7 o'clock, I know that I gotta edit this video tonight, so I really don't have the time to do like 4 different, I don't have time to do that many looks like that. So the way I'm gonna do it is I am gonna do 2 different looks, but I'm just gonna do it 1 on each eye, just to kind of shorten up the time frame, but also play with the shadows and give you guys the best review I possibly can. Plus giving you guys the best review I can based on doing, you know, 2 different looks using the shadows. Now the thing that makes Charlotte Tilbury's palettes a little bit more unique in my opinion is, number 1, I just love the effortless, just elegant, classy eyeshadow looks that I've always been able to create using a Charlotte Tilbury palette. The other reason why I love her palettes is that they're almost foolproof. So they come with their own instruction manual, which is amazing. So as you'll see, the way that the palette is laid out, so you have 4 different sections, okay? And she basically does all the hard work for you. So if you're somebody out there that maybe struggles trying to pull shades together and to create a look with, when I started, I really struggled with that. And over the years, I've really been able to kind of get better with that. Of course, I'm nowhere near some of the amazing artists that I see out there that is just unbelievable. But I do feel like I'm a little bit more confident as time has gone on. This is the daytime look. So this is something that you could just pop on, be very simple, and be out the door. And she kind of gives you the shades that would be perfect for a daytime look. This is the Date Eyes row. So that row is for you're going out on a date, or you're going out with you're going out for drinks with a friend and you don't know what shades you want to work with. Those are just very beautiful shades to create that beautiful date night look. So this row right here is called the Diva Eyes. This is when you want to bring out your inner diva. That's kind of what this is giving me. It's kind of got that bronzy type moment, and you know, these 3 shades up here are golden, but all 3 of these gold shades have a different tone and they're completely different shades. So this row over here is called the Disco row, and the disco is obviously when you're gonna go out to the club. That green, you guys, is absolutely beautiful. So I like that she incorporated in there because that's something different from what Charlotte Tilbury palettes have. You know, most of her palettes are like these shades. So I'm glad that she popped some color right over here for those of you out there that love color. So these 3 shades right here in particular are her satin shades. So there are no matte shades in this palette. There are shimmer shades and then her satin shades. With all that said, I'm just gonna go ahead and just start playing. Now, you could totally follow along with what she's created here. I'm going to do something different. I'm not gonna follow along, maybe to give you more options. You follow along with the sections. The top row is all of the prime shades. The middle right here is the enhanced shades. Bottom are the smoke shades, and it's laid out similar to her 4-pan quad palettes and the Stars in Your Eyes palette, which I have. I'm gonna go in with my Worker Pro from the Sonia G Pro Eye Set. I'm gonna go into the Day Eyes, the first shadow in the palette. I'm just gonna prime my eyes with the shade. Now I'm using it dry. I've not wet it down. You can definitely wet this shadow down, and sometimes I prefer her shimmer shadows dry. It just depends on the look, and it also depends on the shade. And I'm just blending that all over. I'm gonna go in to the Builder Pro. I'm gonna go into this smoke shade in the Diva side. I'm gonna kind of bring this here on the outer corner. Kind of build that up a little bit. And then just kind of doing this like back and forth motion to blend that in to that gold shade. With the tip of the brush, I'm bringing it over into this part just to give a little bit of definition right there. Not much, like just a little bit. I want most of the shadow to be out here on this outer portion, but see how smooth those satin shades are? Like her satins are incredibly smooth. They almost feel wet to the touch, but they're not quite wet. They're not dusty at all. I mean, they're definitely that real pretty, easy to blend satin formula. Now I'm gonna go into the smoke portion of the day eyes, and I'm gonna bring that right over top, right out here on this outer corner, and just really build that dimension. But I'm leaving it right here. Like I'm not taking that shade anywhere else. So for the lower lash line, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean this up because I did get some fallout. I'm gonna put a little teeny bit of eye cream. So I'm gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Concealer. For the lower lash line, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a pencil brush. I'm gonna go in to the smoke shade in the Diva, which is the first shade that we went here on the outer corner. And I'm softly blending that in to the lower lash line. I cannot tell you how smooth these satin shades are. So smooth, you guys. Like they're so smooth. I actually prefer the satin formula over the matte. They're just so smooth. I cannot explain how smooth they are. I'm gonna take a small smudge brush. This is the E21 from Sigma. And I'm gonna go into the smoke shade from the Day Eyes part, and I'm gonna place that right close to my lash line. Just right there on the outer corner. I'm not gonna take that all the way in. Those satin shades are the star of this palette. They blend like no, I can't even explain to you how amazing they are. Unbelievable. Okay, I'm gonna go into the smoke shade in the Disco Eyes, which is a black, I think. Yeah, it's a black. I am going to focus that right here on the outer corner. And I just kind of gave myself just a tiny bit of a wing with that shade. And I'm going to take a little bit of that shade and pop it right here on the lash line on the lower part. Yeah, just right there on that outer corner. I don't want to get like too carried away. Okay, so I'm going to go in with this brush. I'm going to go into the enhanced shade in the Day Eyes part. That Day Eyes is really hard for me to say. I don't know why. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this all over my lid. And I'm just gonna kind of go in softly, and I am going in dry. Now I'm gonna go in with the smoke shade in the Date Eyes, and I'm gonna go over top of that with that shade and just kind of make it like a pink orange shade. I'm kind of turning it a little bit peachy. You guys know I love me some peach. I love me a peach something. I'm gonna go in with this brush, and I'm gonna go into the smoke shade in the Diva Eyes, and I'm gonna might have got a little bit too carried away. Okay, I'm gonna wipe the brush off, and then I'm gonna like blend this out. You can see just how quick that blends, like. I'm gonna gonna mix between the Enhance and the Smoke shade from the Day and the Date portion, just like I did on the lid. And I'm gonna bring that up into my crease. Kind of bring that shimmer out, you know? Why not? I'm gonna take this brush and I'm gonna go into the Smoke shade on the Day Eyes part, and I'm gonna pop this right here on the outer corner and just kind of build up a little bit of that dimension. Now I am gonna kind of cut this off when I wipe, so I'm not really worried about it being this far down. I just want to blend that edge out just to make sure that I don't have any harsh lines. So I'm going to clean up this eye and clean up that edge. Now I'm just going in with a little bit of eye cream. I just got a little bit too much. Okay, for the lower lash line, I'm gonna go in with that smudge brush and I'm gonna go into that Smoke shade. I think what I'll do is I'm going to throw some eyeliner on, I'm going to throw some lashes on, I'll come back and I'll swatch it for you, and then I'll give you guys my full final thoughts on the palette. So I will be right back. Okay, so I have the palette swatched here on my arm. So this is the Day Eyes set swatched. This right here is the Date Eyes. This right here is the Diva Eyes, and then this one is the Disco Eyes. Just so that you guys can see what those shades look like. So my final thoughts on this palette is, you know, you guys know that I have 4 of the quads. So I have the Legendary Muse palette, this one right here, which, oh, it is so beautiful. And I also have the Exaggerize palette, which is one of my favorites. I'm going to be honest, this is one of my favorites. And then I also have the Dolce Vita. Oh, I love this one too. Oh, damn, I love them all. And then this one is the Pillow Talk. And, you know, I like this one too. So, you know, I also really love my Stars in the Eyes palette. I mean, it's a good palette. It really is. Now, this palette was like $70 some. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it here at the bottom of the screen. But this palette was a little bit more than this one is. So you kind of get a bargain when you buy these. Let's just say that you love Charlotte Tilbury and you love these palettes. Well, these are $53 for 4 shadows. I know. $53 for 4 eyeshadows. So let me just add all that up. This palette was $75. So all in all, with all of these palettes sitting right here, these are worth $352, okay? So, I mean, in my opinion, Charlotte Tilbury is worth it. I do really love the formula. It's not that it's just Charlotte Tilbury. I just really, really love the formula. I personally love Charlotte Tilbury. If you are somebody out there that loves the Charlotte Tilbury formula, you will not be disappointed with this palette. Those satin shades, you guys, are incredibly just soft, and they're like buttery almost, and I really, really love the texture of them. I really like this palette. It's just one of those palettes that if you love the shades, you're gonna love the palette. I do like how she popped the green and the blue. You can also see how these shades are so versatile because you can really use these shades. This is a black, but you can use these shades for any shade in the palette. Like I said, the only drawback that I get from the Charlotte Tilbury formula is I do get a lot of fallout. And that's just how it is with the shimmer shades. They're just extremely beautiful, and they're so soft and buttery when you blend them on the eye. You do her shimmer shades wet, they almost give like a silk look. And then if you don't do them wet, they do kind of just a nice glide of shimmer, and I just love it. If this is a palette that speaks to you and the color story speaks to you, you will definitely not be disappointed. Let's just say that you are new to the Charlotte Tilbury world and you've never bought a palette from Charlotte Tilbury. This would definitely be a nice one to get because you do get 12 shades for $65. This is what's nice, is that these smaller palettes are $53 and you're getting this 12 pan palette for $65. And so for $12 more, you're getting 8 extra shades, which in my opinion is a bargain when it comes to Charlotte Tilbury. So I do think that this would be a nice starter palette for you to kind of get to know the shimmer shades, kind of blend them out, kind of understand her sections and the way that she creates palettes to make it so easy for the everyday user. And I like this palette. So the thing that I think I love about this palette the most is that when I popped that highlighter on my cheek in the intro, I am like, oh my gosh, I love that shade as a highlighter. It's a little bit darker than the Amrezy. Now I think if you're a lighter skin tone than I am, I don't know, I think it might be a tad bit too dark for you as far as a highlighter goes. I mean, of course you can wear it whatever color you want, but if you do like your highlighter to be more of a champagne shade, it might be a little bit too dark for you, but it is beautiful on the skin. Like, I was completely blown away. It doesn't look, you know how some highlighters can look a little bit chunky and a little bit textured? This is very silky. Like when you read the description and it describes it as a silky shade, that's exactly how I would describe it. It just goes on and it just adheres to the skin and lays beautifully over those points without adding any type of texture to it. So that was one thing that I completely fell in love with. I am going to swatch just a few shades because for those of you guys that maybe have the Stars in Your Eyes palette and maybe you're wondering if these shades are going to be similar, let's go ahead and compare them just so that we can kind of get that out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to go into this shade right here. That is in the Happy Eyes part. And I'm going to go into this shade right here and see if they're similar. So they're similar. This one is from the Icon palette. This one is from the Stars in Your Eyes. They're similar, but they're not the same. They're similar though. The one from Your Stars in Your Eyes is a little bit more shimmery, and this one is a little bit more silky, and it's darker. I'm gonna go into the first shade right here. Oh, I love that shade as a highlighter. Oh my gosh. And then I'm gonna go into this shade right here in the Stars in Your Eyes palette right there. Okay, so those are similar. They're pretty similar. This one is a little bit more on the yellow side. This one is just a lighter shade, but this one feels different though. Like, they don't really feel the same. So I'm gonna go into this shade right here, the second shade in the palette. We're gonna see if that shade is similar to this shade right here in the Icon palette. So that's what those two look like, and they're not similar. So we're good there. They're not really the same. Let's go into this shade right here and see what that shade looks like next to. These feel like they feel different than the Stars in Your Eyes palette. They really do, you guys. Like, I can't really explain it. Oh, okay. So this is from the Icon and this is from the Stars in Your Eyes. So this one's definitely more orange. Okay, so I just did a little bit of research on this, and it says that what really sets this palette apart from previous releases, it is the new wet touch powder technology that makes the eyeshadows feel wet to the touch. This formulation allows them to transfer seamlessly to create a film of color on the skin, and they're non-drying too. I will agree with that. Like I said, when I was touching these satin shades, they felt like they were a little bit wet. Like, they kind of have that wet feeling, but not all the way wet. Like, it's not like you're feeling it wet, but almost wet. I think that's what I really love about the palette. I feel like these shades are exceptionally soft, very blendable, but instant pigmentation. And what I liked about this palette in particular is that both of my eyes are done with not wetting my brush. You don't need to wet these to get that gorgeous pigmentation. You can to give you that really silk type look, but you can leave it without wetting it, and I really love it. Now, I kind of feel like some of these are applied best with the finger, but they also blended beautifully with a brush. I do feel like the finger would probably be less fallout than with a brush, so just kind of take note to that. But I freaking love this palette. I think this palette is amazing. I'm so glad I have it in my collection. And if you are a Charlotte Tilbury fan, you will not be disappointed in this formulation. If this color story speaks to you and you love Charlotte Tilbury palettes, this limited edition palette is definitely worth $65 in my humble opinion. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys again for all the love that you guys show me and this channel. It truly means the world to me. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day filled with love and happiness. I will see you guys right back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. and I love you guys so much.